I can still hear her words, like a stain that never faded. I'd rather eat on the floor than use your trash. That's what my sister Melanie said the day I offered her my old dining table. It wasn't much, edges worn, one leg a little off balance, but it carried history. It was a table where Mom taught us to pray before dinner, where Dad used to laugh so hard his coffee spilled. Melanie just rolled her eyes. She'd recently moved into a shiny new apartment downtown, the kind with marble counters and furniture straight out of a catalog. My table didn't match her aesthetic. Seriously, just throw that thing away, she said, snapping selfies of her new glass table for Instagram. Nobody wants that junk. I laughed it off, pretending her words didn't sting, but inside, something tightened. That table wasn't junk. It was the last thing I'd kept after Mom passed, the only piece of home I couldn't part with. So instead of tossing it, I stored it in the garage. Weeks went by, and every time I walked past it, I could still hear Melanie's voice echoing in my head. Garbage. Then, one rainy afternoon, while scrolling through my phone, I came across a post. Vintage restoration contest. $15,000 prize. My eyes drifted toward the table. Maybe, just maybe, that garbage still had a story to tell. That night, I cleared the garage, pushing aside dusty boxes and old tools until the table stood alone beneath the flickering light. It would look dull, tired, scarred, kind of like I'd been feeling for years. But something in me sparked. Maybe I wasn't just restoring the table. Maybe I was restoring myself. For the next several weeks, I poured every spare minute into that project. I sanded down the splinters, filled the cracks, and brushed on a warm walnut stain that brought the wood back to life. I even replaced the uneven leg with one I found at a thrift store for $3. When it was done, it didn't look like the trash Melanie had mocked. It looked reborn. I took photos, wrote a short story about how the table had been in my family for generations, and submitted it to the contest. I didn't expect much. But 2 weeks later, I got an email that made me drop my phone. I was a finalist. They wanted me to bring the table to a local exhibit for public voting. I spent the entire night polishing it, making sure every inch reflected care. On exhibit day, people gathered around, running their fingers over the smooth surface, asking about its story. And for the first time in a long while, I talked about Mom, about family, about love that doesn't fade just because time moves on. A week later, the results came in. I didn't just win, I won big. The judges said it wasn't just the craftsmanship, it was the story. How something ordinary could carry so much heart. That same night, the table sold at auction for $15,000. I stared at the number on my screen, barely breathing. All those nights spent sanding, polishing, remembering, it had turned into something real. But it wasn't the money that made me emotional. It was what came next. When I brought the check home, Melanie was there. She glanced at the photos of the table on my phone, her expression softening. "Wait, is that the same table?" she asked. "Yeah," I said quietly. "The one you called garbage." For once, she didn't have a snappy comeback. Just a small, regretful smile. "Guess I was wrong," she murmured. I didn't rub it in. I simply told her I was thinking about using part of the prize money to start a small furniture restoration business. Something to give forgotten things a second chance. Her eyes shimmered. "Mom would have loved that," she said softly. That night, I sat alone in the garage, staring at the empty space where the table once stood. It was gone, yes, but I didn't feel its absence. I felt peace. Because sometimes, the things people call garbage just need someone who remembers what they're really worth.